just saying that Cutter's just no.
Fuck you, Gerry.
I don't think I know, but that's just it. Like, even though I believe my moment is okay, it's not. I don't think it's as big as WrestleMania 30 Taker losing. I still think it's probably the second most shocking moment in WrestleMania history. But that's not my moment yet. It's we're coming to yours first. So.
We're saving yours until last. So up next is Butter's choice, and you are going for WrestleMania 18.
That's right, WrestleMania 18, a match that I know myself I never thought would happen. And I know many people thought the same. As I've said several times, I was a WCW fan back in the day. Good WCW, I will clarify that. But that was because that's what was available to me at the time. But so I joined that at the height of the NWO, etc. That was always one of those things. And then, of course, they died off. I transferred over to WWF before it died off and whatnot. But one of the things you never thought, you started speculating during the whole invasion, etc., the dream matches that you could possibly have. Before we saw what the invasion became, you started dreaming about the matches you could have. And this one just never felt like it would happen because you had two of arguably the biggest icons ever in wrestling. Not about ability or anything like that, just sheer drawing power, merch selling power, charisma, whatever you want to say. Two of the biggest icons the industry probably will ever see. And they were finally facing off for the very, very first time. It was Rock versus Hulk Hogan. And it was fucking breathtaking. Again, much like the other ones, I remember it vividly. The dueling chants, the match itself, honestly, probably better than it had any right to be. You probably put a lot of that down to The Rock. But all in all, as far as WrestleMania moments go, it's one of those things. Again, I think it's just I personally never thought we'd see it, and we got it, and it was just it was. I feel cheesy saying it. It was electrifying.
Yeah, very much so.
This match now, you know, I always thought when you look, because you were looking at, you came over from WCW to WWF and you're thinking, right, what matches could we have? And you obviously thought, oh, well, that could be the match. But I always felt that if you were going to do a match like that you would go for the two biggest. And for me, The Rock wasn't the biggest. For me, Austin was the biggest. But I don't, like, as much of it as I'm an Austin fan, Austin versus Hogan I don't think even come close.
I think the personalities are too different.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Rock and Hogan almost work in a different way. And coming over, Gerry, to be honest with you, at that stage when I left, Hogan was gone. So I didn't think he was coming back to WWF, even as part of a WCW acquisition. So he didn't even register in my mind as a potential dream match with anybody. But then the NWO came over. And like I started, obviously you're thinking about Sting and Taker, or maybe Austin and Goldberg, and stuff like that. Now we didn't get any of them, but that's largely down to the fucking horribleness that was the invasion booking. I loved the invasion in general, but the booking left a lot to be desired. But however, it wasn't one of those things I thought I'd ever see, and it almost wasn't a thing I thought I wanted to see until it happened.
That's
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree with you there.
Yeah.
For me, I wanted to see, being at the time, being younger and still a massive wrestling fan, I wanted Hogan versus Austin. I wanted the two biggest ever to collide. And I didn't get it, but what we got was what I think so much better than anything Austin and Hogan could have ever done.
I agree.
Yeah, fair point. So, guys, you have your links there.
Yeah, is everybody set?
Yeah.
Yes. So there is a bit of a preamble on the video. There's like a backstage segment and a hype video. So I don't know if you want to remark on that itself, but if you want to kind of cut to the chase, 5 minutes 5 seconds is where we can start.
Yeah, I think we'll skip to there, guys, because it's just all it is it's Nash and Hall.
Yeah.
Kind of having a chat backstage, and then it's the whole lead up beforehand as well. Just the promo package. So there's nothing. Yeah. You're not missing anything essential there.
Exactly.
So what was the timestamp you said? 5:05.
5:05. Yeah, because there's a very slick transition I want people to see. Because I just saw it there when I was playing back. I was like, oh, that's nice. I have to learn how to do that.
1 second.
5:05. Okay.
Yeah.
If everybody has that.
Yeah, got it.
You all good? Yeah.
What about you, Foxy?
Yep.
5:05.
Okay. If we're all set, 3, 2, 1, go.
And away we go. Now, again, I've said this before, and I'm only saying this just to make Gerry feel.
Oh, that is a sweet transition. Sorry.
Right? That's beautiful. WrestleMania 18 was my first live Mania.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I feel old.
And you know what the mad thing is? I don't remember this match.
Wow.
I don't remember the second half of the show. I don't know what it is. My memory stops at where did it stop at? I remember watching the show. I remember watching
Are you trying to get the same reaction out of me now than what happened a couple of weeks ago on the other show?
Yeah, I'm trying to get you shell shocked. Yeah, that's it.
No, you can fuck off. Only Gerry can do that. You can fuck off.
The crazy thing here, you hear Hogan's reaction. He's the heel.
Yes.
And the crowd are going mental. And that's not a fault of the booking. There wasn't nothing wrong with how he's booked. He was booked as a heel.
Yeah.
But
it was booked as a serious heel. Like, look at the bit with the truck.
Yeah, they're ramming the truck into the car with Rocky. Like, they did everything they could, but the crowd were just on their own thing here. They were like, no, this is icon versus icon. Fuck you.
To me, this Mania was like most after Mania Raws. The crowd did what the fuck they wanted.
That's a very good point. Very good point.
Oh no! Of course, this is the WrestleMania set in Toronto. Therefore, Canadians are weird.
Oh, bizarro world.
And we'd just like to point out that Jonathan's view is not the view of the channel. Thank you.
The view of me.
But hey, it's fine. We like weird. Canadians are a great bunch of lads. Just saying.
Considering most of them must be Irish at this stage.
Well, Irishy, French.
French-Irish.
I say that just purely the amount of people I know that have moved to fucking Canada.
Everyone knows one.
A great theme.
Rockhouse.
Oh, yeah. Look, WCW had shit themes, right?
Yes.
Their themes were usually bollocks, right? And I'll say that. But that's one they did right. NWO, they did right.
I remember doing
listen to that crowd, man.
Yeah. I did a podcast one time, and we were doing like a World Cup of wrestling themes, and I had to like explain to like two people 10 years younger than me why Rockhouse is the best theme music ever, and the one they were arguing for was David Starr's theme.
Oh, fuck off!
Oh, I know. It's like, no, people, shut up, listen to me. Let me explain. People don't understand.
My idea of a perfect theme is the minute it hits, you should know exactly who it is, and it should give you a feeling of, oh shit's about to go down.
But it's also like, if the music has the best matches of the faction, it's like when you think of the NWO, you think of a certain style, you know, kind of way. Like if you think of, say, like The Rock, you hear the bombastic, then with Randy Savage, you hear
the closest musically to NWO was Undisputed Era.
Yeah, but that was a kind
purposefully.
A purposely, exactly, with a play on it, you know. But in the same way, like that's a theme that matches the character, you know, and that's what good themes do. Like, granted, like in the indie scene, it's different. You can have like licensed music that suits what you're going for because it's such a universal thing. You can pick whatever music you want. When you have music catered to you, it's very different, you know. And that was the magic of people like Jim Johnson. He was able to just like look at a character and go, bam, there's your music. There's your Ministry theme. There's your Kane theme. There's your Mr. Perfect theme. Like, fuck. Like the man can't do no wrong when it comes to music.
Somebody turn off Cutter's mic for fuck's sake.
But and adjust.
I was just going to say, look at them just milking the crowd. They're just like, no, we'll take our time.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to start anything.
We don't need to touch. Like, we can go like 10 minutes and like we don't even have to touch each other.
Look, the crowd are on the edge of their seat before we've touched. We should milk this so that when we do touch, they're going to fucking explode.
And here's the moment. The face-to-face is just...
Now, this moment, this is it. This is the WrestleMania moment.
Beautiful.
Like that shot there of the two of them looking in opposite ways. It's like taking it in. It's like, holy crap.
And it's the crowd, the transitioning seamlessly from Rocky to Hogan, just without missing a beat. They're not dueling chants. It's the same people chanting. They're just changing their chant.
Mm-hmm. It's not. And it's this is the
look at that.
Look at that. Like,
they're just walking around. Pop the crowd.
Yeah.
Boom. Like, we all talk about like in hindsight and all that, but like this definitely should have been main event.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, like that, what was supposed to be the main event, like, unfortunately, was not going to be able to follow up on that.
All he did was a lock-up push-off, and the crowd have come unglued.
The fucking beach ball.
Oh, don't use that term. I hate it when Michael Cole says that. Saying, "You come unglued." Fuck off.
It was vintage Hogan. Vintage Hogan.
Vintage Michael Cole.
But I do agree. This should have been the main event. Imagine they ended the show with this. Like, fuck.
I just imagine who followed this, Jonathan. Do you remember?
Jericho Triple H.
Jericho Triple H
for the Undisputed.
I just imagine them in the back going, "Oh, fuck."
They have said that.
What?
They've actually said it in a few interviews. It's like we're just watching this on the screen. We're just like, fuck.
Yeah, let's be honest. There was a reason they put the belt on Hogan a month later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can I just say, in the couple of things Hogan's done, he's done a shoulder block and he's done a push-off. Rocky has sold him like he's been hit by a fucking truck each time. He's doing inside-out fucking bumps for him. Because, obviously, and I don't think I'm spoiling anything here, Rocky's going to carry the weight of this match.
Oh, totally.
Oh, you've spoiled it now.
We can stop watching now.
And I think obviously he knew that going in. You're going with a much older, restricted Hogan, who was never the most light up the world worker in the first place.
But that's the whole point. That's the whole the fascinating chemistry in this match. Is that like The Rock isn't like a newbie here. Like The Rock is like one of the biggest characters in WWF, regardless of what time you're at. But it's a thing that he even looks, at the moment, he looks second class ahead in front of Hogan, because Hogan has the mysticism around him. Like, he is Hollywood Hogan, and that's to show the star power in comparison. You have Hogan, who's just like this messianic figure in this match, and then Rock slowly builds into it and overtakes that. Then I love matches that do that, where it starts off as one thing and then the person grows into the match and overtakes. I love that match type.
But this is what I was saying. Two guys who are, now don't get me wrong, absolutely fine workers in their day. Absolutely. But by no means you'd ever say they were some of the best wrestlers of all time in a technical capacity. But as far as showmen with charisma and drawing power, etc., you can't deny those two men are arguably the biggest of all time.
Yeah, for sure. But like, let's bear in mind, like, you could be sometimes the best wrestler in the world, but if you can't draw, if you can't pull, if you don't have the star quality, it means nothing half the time. You'll be remembered as a great wrestler, and people will talk about you and go, "Oh man, I love this work," and so forth. But sometimes it is just about selling shirts and being a star and being that person that everyone's talking about. And like, let's face it, that is like one of the bare bones of wrestling, is to be the star that people want to watch.
Look back at WCW when they were riding high. Their game plan wasn't that bad. They had the big name draws to get the people into the seats, and then they'd have their workhorses, their cruiserweights, putting on the 5-star classics. Like, it's hard to argue with that.
You come for Hulk Hogan, you stay for the cruiserweights.
Exactly. Because you'd have your draws that'd get you in the door, your big stars, and then you'd still get your great wrestling too. Now, that's obviously taking apart all the backstage politics and blah, 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 that ripped it apart from the inside. But as a bare bones premise, it's not a bad premise.
No, it's a sound enough strategy. As the case was, it just, they didn't count in for the side effects of it.
Yeah.
Of the consequences. Like, people were popping for that. It was like, yeah, he did the thing. Because I mean, you can imagine, like, I'm even just thinking of like the age profile of the fans here. This is a match that they are legit would have been dreaming of.
Yeah. And
they are seeing their dream match. Like, fuck, I would love to see Pete Hogan versus Pete Rock. What would that match look like? And beat for beat, this is probably the match they're thinking of. You know, and this is the beautiful thing about it. It is exactly paint by numbers what they would have wanted.
Obviously, now we've seen there's been a couple of botches.
Yes.
But I think they've actually been covered really well and really quickly. Like that little botch coming off the ropes where Rocky went into kind of a half spear thing.
Yeah.
That was covered so quickly that you'd barely notice it. And I always admire that in somebody who can just identify it just in a snap and go whoop and just cover it.
I watched an interview the other day, and it was with Mike Chioda. And he talks about like this match. He's like, the question was asked, like, what was it like being in there when this was happening? He's like, pardon the pun, but it actually was. It felt electric.
Yeah.
Because like the crowd response for it was so off the charts.
Yeah.
Like it, like seamlessly, like it just, the crowd were on a different level in regards to like, no, this is what they want, and they're just losing their absolute minds.
I can think of very few matches where the crowd has no lull period, where they're just vocal up there the whole match. And when I really think about it, I can't think of many matches that achieve that.
Yeah. Like, the one that comes to mind for me is Devin Walter. There was never a real lull in that, but the first match, not the scrapper match, the first match, where it's just like the big fight feel was there, and you knew, like, again, it was very similar energy to Taker Lesnar, because like you're thinking, oh shit, now there's an actual threat, there's a tangible threat, he could lose, and everyone's just like vying for it, you know. So it's a very similar vibe in that regard. Those, again, from a much smaller scale, but very similar energy. Is the fact that like that crowd were gagging for that match. They were desperate to see the match. And it's the same thing here. Again, bearing in mind, of course, like that was like, for us in OTT, that's like a month or two build. Once you realize that match is on the cards, you're going, ooh, tasty deal. For wrestling fans, they could be waiting 10 years potentially for this match. Just even the notion of it, you know.
As I said, the strange thing was, it wasn't a match, and I'm sure sure there's plenty of people that wanted to see it, but I'm sure there's plenty of people that thought the same as me. It wasn't a match I even knew I wanted until it happened. Because when it started, the bones got laid out for it. Then you start going, wait, yeah, this makes sense. Look at them. They're similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
This makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense, but it's also the case of like it's a great comparison of generations because like, and let's be fair here, like these are like,
this was a passing of the torch.
Oh, for sure. But here's the thing, like who could have passed the torch? Who could The Rock have passed the torch to in the next generation? There wasn't many candidates. Cena, and that took. Like,
I think that was the idea with Cena. I think.
Yeah, like
at the time,
to develop, you know, and even then, like that felt like a little too late, if that makes sense, at least in my personal opinion, you know. But it just goes to show you that sometimes when you do get that star power, and in this case, very close proximity to each other, you know, it's something to do how to push a button on. But,
I think the difference with Hogan and Rock, with Rock and Cena is Hogan again. Hogan and Rock was one of those things we shouldn't have seen.
Yes,
we shouldn't have seen. Rock and Cena, you know, yeah. Hogan and Rock, no, you know, Hogan's gone. He's not wrestling anymore. He left WCW. He fucking tried to sue them over a storyline. He ain't coming in.
You know what my thing is, like doing stuff like this, like table spots and that. Like lads, you had the crowd here. You didn't need to do all this stuff. Like you had done this.
But still, looking at, they're not doing anything crazy.
No. It's
like,
relatively simple.
Yeah.
Like, not overcomplicated. Like, they are literally, like, calling it on the fly. Like, based off what the crowd are.
Brilliant.
Foxy, take notes.
Write that shit down.
Although, to be fair, I always remember Foxy taking a nasty old bump into a cage at one point. Foxy's taken plenty of nasty bumps, but I remember the lads and... Oh, no, it wasn't lads. It was Paddy and Martina versus Kings.
Oh, the second cage
in
match.
The cage.
Yeah.
You took a nasty old spill into the, you had the cage door shut on you?
Yes.
Yes.
I remember. Yeah, it hit him so hard he doesn't even fucking remember.
As I say, no surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, you took a nasty hit on that. I don't know if somebody fucking did that accidentally or what, but you got fucked up.
Not gonna lie, like when I see when we have the likes of the cage, I am actually like, it's one of those on the bucket list that I actually would like to take the bump.
Off the top?
No. God, no. I'm not suicidal.
Yes, I too would love 2 broken ribs.
No. Like, what I mean by like, I want to take that, like, where, you know, where like you're basically shoved and you're launched into the cage.
Yes.
The bump. Like the generic, like, old, like, bump that you take.
The old school fucking lawn dart to the cage, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what? Boom, take the bump and just be out. Like, completely out. Like, I mean, like, the unfortunate thing is that, like, it's only one referee in OTT. So we're very restricted in types of
you can't have something that completely fucks you up because you have other matches to do. Yeah.
Like, it's fine when it's in the main event, like, or it's fine if it's the match before intermission.
Yeah.
That's usually my only caveat to anything. Like, if I'm bumping, it has to be in one of these 2 matches. Because at least then logically it can still make sense.
Yeah,
when we
you
come
can
back.
recover.
Yes.
Like main event, you can be brought to the back because we don't need you anymore. And intermission, well, we can get you to the back and we can get some water over you and bring you to,
Yeah,
and you'll be fine, you know?
Yeah. But like, but the reason why I say is like we're very restricted in what we can tell. Whereas like if we had a second ref, like goddamn, like you could tell more stories.
Yeah.
Especially for big matches where it's like referees down.
Oh, and
Another
have like
ref runs out.
another ref runs out. Yeah, yeah.
1, 2, big kick out.
Yeah.
They get clocked, and then finally, I come back again,
Yeah.
and we go into a finish. But it's just like, or
you can build it and have the second ref get knocked out, but the first ref comes back too, and he's you know.
Yeah, like things like that. It's just like, damn, like, or like for the cage, like taking that bump, and it's like I don't see the person escape.
Yeah.
And therefore they get brought back into the cage, and then the heels actually get the win because I've woken up and seen it.
There's a lot you can do with that.
Yeah, it's a shame because like those are the kind of stories that I would love to do, but very rarely get.
Look at the fucking hell!
Oh, the crowd here.
They're so up for this.
They're screaming. They're just actively screaming at this.
Boom, boom, boom. Ooh.
I mean, not one person on the seat.
Boom. The light bulbs, like the flashing lights, like it's just.
Like, have you ever seen a crowd in the palm of somebody's hand?
Oh my lord, yeah.
There's now like it's very different. Like I think Gerry, you might be able to understand this one. Is the fact that like there's a particular sound that we wait for the crowd to do, and that's when we know instantly we've got them. Like that's when we have them. So we could go home now, or we could just like try to milk it for that one extra bit, and then actually like, yeah, we're good.
The thing that sets this apart, I think, as well, though, is I don't think they could actively lose this crowd if they tried.
No, that's the thing. They were already a soul. They had got it done from the face off. That was it. Like,
although that said, if they went out and stunk up the place, look, it's hard to know.
Or an injury happened.
that
would have.
Oh, beautiful.
Look,
beautiful.
Like, you were starting to get a lull in the crowd.
Yeah.
And then he just keeps up and straight into position. Everyone's like, oh, yes.
And he has one of the best kip-ups in the biz.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
I actually do prefer his to Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Job done. Like in fact, as wrestlers, like some people would be dreaming of a crowd like that. Of like literally you could like blink and it'd pop. You know.
That, but I mean, it's also, I mean, that's got to play havoc with your nerves, as we saw there. There was a couple of messy spots and stuff. Like, you put that down to. I mean, no matter who you are, that crowd has got to affect you.
But it's also the point as well, because like you know yourself, like when you're having matches like this, you normally get a few practice rounds on a circuit or whatever. But with Rock and Hogan, you couldn't really do that. You couldn't experiment.
No.
You couldn't work stuff out. So you do have to do stuff on the fly. But much to the point, like you don't really need to do that much. Like you've already won by just being in the ring.
But that said, to a point you made earlier, Rock wasn't exactly a greenhorn at this point.
No.
They both are well capable of going in there and calling the match.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely 100%. So yeah, lads, what's your scores as we enjoy the afters here?
I
certainly one of the most interesting moments. Like that, you know, as could have said at the start, it's that moment at the start. It's not even so much the match, it's the moment at the start. They look at each other, they look away, they look at each other again. It's magical.
Yeah.
You can't get a moment like that. Like, no matter what you try, you can try for the next 20 years, you'll never get another moment like that. But I can't rate it higher than Undertaker Streak being beaten. I can't. I just can't go that high. I'm going to go 8.5.
5, okay.
I think it's fair. I mean, I'd have trouble when you're putting the streak in there with it. I you know, it's hard to argue.
I think for me, like, it is a situation where, like, the magic is in the air, and this is what the crowd are looking for. The fact that the crowd at no point really, like, lost this match. They were they were watching every single thing, and it didn't matter what they did. They could have went in there and played chess for 15 minutes, and the crowd still would have had dueling chants, you know, kind of way. But the fact that these two lads did deliver, they just executed what they had. Both of them had their greatest hits, and that's what the crowd wanted to see. In the same way, like now, when you get like a Taker match, you want to see the greatest hits, and that's it. We don't want to see them get hurt. But we're not at this point yet with these two guys. You want to see exactly the match you can envision. Like, that is what you're dreaming of when you see this match. You know, because let's face it, like, this is one of those matches. Like, imagine, you can picture like Goldberg Austin in your mind, how that would go, and you can imagine how Sting Taker would go in your mind. This is that, you know, this is the match you'd see. So for me, like, I think they did what they executed everything perfectly. They never lost the crowd. The moment is there for sure. So I'm going to give it a 9. I'm going to give it a 9 because, like, I don't think you could improve on what they've done with this, in my opinion.
Fair.
Like, with this, it's just, you say about, like, may have lost the crowd. Like, you could have potentially lost the crowd there,
Yes.
just with them hitting them. But to me, like, that just solidified, like, what had happened during the match. He turned instant to superface.
Yes.
Like, and it's like, yeah, like, I can't, like, the moment of, like, the start and just the fact that, like, how simple the match is, like, we didn't have to do much. God damn, like, yeah, an 8.5 for me. Like,
interesting. So, Dennis, you get in total a 26 out of 30. Puts you into a solid second place, and well deserved. To be fair, like, it's a hell of a moment. It's a hell of just a match. And again, you have to feel for Jericho and Triple H to follow this.
That's all I kept thinking is, like, they must have been cursing whoever fucking laid out the match card, because I mean, do you know what tells me they saw it coming? Was right, okay, so the dueling chants had happened on the shows previously, but not only that, they had the NWO running at the end to solidify the face turn from Hogan. So they knew the crowd was going to be completely on board with Hogan, etc. And they just threw Trips and Jericho to the fucking wolves. Like I said, no, you have the title, main event, follow that, fuckers. You know, like, you know.
Again, much to the point, imagine this being your final sign-off of WrestleMania. Like what we're going to see just now. Like that is legendary. That is like that could be the best ending of a WrestleMania ever.
Yep.
Like literally two generational stars hot dogging to the hottest crowd you'll ever get.
Now, I do think later on in other Manias, they did start doing more of the feel-good moments to close out the show to a degree, like with Brian taking the title, which was about the only thing you could do to bring the crowd back up after what had happened beforehand. And kind of like, so yeah, I mean, I don't get what they were thinking. This was back when the title had to be in the main event and that was the end of the story, but I mean, it's just not how it is.
But in fairness, they did learn the lesson with future WrestleManias. Like, remember, like we had Taker HBK. That was like the last out.
Yeah.
And with certain aspects of it, like matches that would have been like marquee matches, like say Flair versus HBK, didn't necessarily overshadow Taker versus Edge, for example. And perhaps like I think Taker Shawn Michaels is a bad example of that because like look, that just took the wind out of everyone's sails. But
that's actually an interesting point because I think this may have been the point where they said, okay, we need to reevaluate this.
Absolutely,
because I'm sure Triple H, Jericho, and whatever agents were involved in that match, etc., were not fucking happy. Because they could go out there and have a 5-star classic and it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
The crowd are burnt out.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, they should tell them, like, you know, this is why you don't do 7-hour manias anymore, because the same thing happens. There's too many moments, there's too many feel-good things. And it's like, this is why you do it over 2 nights now.
The best thing they did was start doing it 2 nights.
Oh God, yeah, like it's like Jesus wept. It's so much more palatable, and it means that stuff like this matters more.
Yeah.
Another good thing about this is that like the class that's been shown.
Yeah.
Like even though he was the winner, like to show him the respect of like, no, people want to see you do this. This is what people want to see. Give them what they want, and then like the respect for like, all right, here you go, like I'll help you out.
Yeah.
Like no, like rubbing it in his face. No, this is like paying respect to your...
walking off into the sunset.
Yeah.
And there we go. So we are on to our main event.
Yes, and it is the main event because Gerry Soul.
I mean, speaking of booking, why the fuck did you book me to go after fucking Foxy, pricks?
So Gerry, talk us. We're not going too far back from this point. We're going a full year. We're going to WrestleMania 17. A lot of people believe this to be the best WrestleMania, and I'm sure you're about to tell us why.
So much happened on this show. There was so many things happened on this show, but for me, I will always hold this as the best WrestleMania moment, simply because, like Taker losing, you didn't see it coming, because you just didn't see this point coming. It was the two biggest in the company. It was Rock and Hogan, and it was them for the title once again at WrestleMania. And you just said, well, the first one was great. This is going to be great. Austin wanted to become champion once again. He'd come back from a year being out from the neck injury, from trying to overcome everything, and he finally had. This is his time. This is his WrestleMania moment again. He's in the main event with The Rock for the championship, and he wanted to make sure he left with the championship. But nobody, I'm the biggest Austin fan, nobody saw it coming. Now, for me, a lot of Austin fans don't like this moment, simply because it was the point where he went from being the one that you loved to the one that you wanted to hate. But I love heels more than I love faces. And I just thought that was spot on, absolutely brilliant. And it's why it's my WrestleMania moment.
Indeed. And we are about to watch it. So the main event of WrestleMania 17, The Rock versus Stone Cold, round 2 in their mini arc, as it were. But yeah, certainly perhaps the most prominent of them all, really, when you think of it. So guys, have we got our links?
Yep, we're good to go.
Awesome. Mr. Soul, you can count us in.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Straight off the bat, I'm going to say this is winning points because I love the team of Heyman and JR.
Oh yeah, Jesus, yeah. Such a short shelf life, but very, very effective. Like they kind of like JR and Heyman is kind of like to me, like Murray Walker and James Stone, oil and water. But because they're so different, it works. You can have like excited old man talking to you about like wheels, and then James is going, "He's a cunt," and like that's Heyman and JR, in a nutshell.
Also, the disturbed version of Stone Cold's theme doesn't get enough love.
Yes.
I love it.
Then on that same video, I had to argue for this theme.
Oh,
Kids these
I mean-
days. Kids these days.
Like, also keep in mind, like, the video package leading into this.
Oh yes.
The best
way.
video package
Yeah.
of any match ever.
No, there's
The
no
best.
contest.
It was just a case of, like, you have the right footage. You also have the perfect song to go along with that.
Yeah.
And it's like with the old Desire videos. Like each song that was used for those Desire videos was like, just perfectly picked.
my sacrifice.
Yeah, like you had Sacrifice and just but like,
Do you remember Creed?
Oh,
yeah.
Next Creed. Because they believe in Jesus.
Why do you think we took did our own parody of like the Desire videos with Creed?
Oh yeah, shit. I remember
Yeah,
that.
we
Oh,
yeah,
that was beautiful.
yeah.
Because
You need
people were
to dig
singing
that up.
along to it with the crowds.
Yeah.
Now, I
Like-
want you to pay close attention to this because you look at the last match we watched, you look at Hogan and Rock and how electric the crowd was, right? But this is the main event. This is the very end of the show, and everybody is on their feet. They're screaming, they're shouting.
And I always, do you know, for a Mania show, especially, I always take that as a testament to the star power you have in the ring, because obviously after that amount of time, now they weren't as long as they are now, but still, it was a long show. You know, burnout is a thing that happens to crowds, and as Gerry just hit on, yeah, they're all on their feet. There's no sign of anybody anyway tired or anything like that, which is always a risk. That always stands to me as a testament of the stars that you have in the ring, where it brings the people back to life. Now, granted, you probably had at this time a Divas palate cleanser between matches.
Norms.
What always impressed me was like how The Rock did that with the belt. Like just that.
The whip back. Oh,
Yeah,
he
because,
must have reefed himself half the time doing it.
Yeah, because like those things are heavy.
Yeah.
Like he made it look like it was just a fanny pack, but in
Very
actual
good.
fact, like it's fun.
No, but yeah, I much like with most WrestleMania matches, they work best in context. So like, this is in like Houston, so you're in Texan country. Stone Cold is like getting the favorable heat here of the crowd, but also
But they're
it's like,
starring at a million miles an hour.
oh god, yeah, and you might as well. Like, there's no point doing slow. You'll go full pelt. It's no disqualification. Why would you bother? You know, no one's there to watch pot on elbows. You're there to watch them fight.
No, but it's really getting the story across too. You know,
Yes.
it's getting that it's setting up for the moment at the end, the desperation, the fucking I'm going after you because I want this, you know?
But like it's a slow build because like you see during the course of the match him turning. Like
Yeah.
he's getting more aggressive and more like frustrated and just like showing these
And correct me if
tendencies.
I'm wrong, but isn't that what they've built the entire thing was that he'll do anything to get his title back?
Yes.
That's exactly what he said in the interview. He said, "I
Yeah.
will do everything to beat you, Rock, because I have to."
Yeah.
And that was the key line. Now, granted,
And you see, Gerry hit the nail on the head. I'm going to save some of this for the end, but I have to agree. Nobody, much like the Streaks, saw it coming. I didn't. I definitely didn't.
It was like what Foxy was saying there. You got hints.
Yeah.
You know, he did the stun gun. He did the $1 Million Dream. Things like that. Because he tried to do anything.
Yeah.
But even the stuff with McMahon, you just didn't see.
No. And that's the thing, because it never... Because they had arguably one of the greatest angles of all time running for so long was Austin McMahon. Which again has been recreated to death. it was one of those things you never thought would happen because Austin was Austin. He was the biggest face they'd seen in years. Now, with the exception of The Rock.
Yes, I was going to say that, because again, the context is important there. Like, this is 2001. WCW is bought out 2 weeks before this show. So it is a case of it's like, right, whatever you can try and do for your death knells of this company, we're going to blow this out of the fucking water with the best ever WrestleMania. We're putting on the best possible card we can with the talent we have, and fuck your WCW guys, because they're never going to put on a show as good as this. And this is your centerpiece. This is where you start off from and work your way down. And the beautiful thing is, again, 2001, the very important part is there, that is the end of the Attitude Era. And what better way to destroy, to set fire to the Attitude Era than Austin siding with Vince McMahon?
Because, I mean, obviously, destroy the one thing that probably defined the Attitude Era.
Exactly. Like, literally, you destroy what you create. And because then when you wake up the next morning and you're watching Raw, you're thinking, what the fuck happens next? What's next in WWE? There's no WCW. ECW's gone. There's only WWF. They have won. What are they going to give us?
My only problem, in contrast to WCW and how this couldn't compete to something WCW, is neither of these guys are Buff Bagwell. And that, in my eyes, they can't compete.
Look, come here, listen, we can't win all battles, Dennis. Like, you know, ideally this would have been S.A. Rios.
Jeez, S.A. Rios, fuck.
On commentary. But we have to move past that, Dennis, all right? We have to move past that. And
you know what I want in the main event of my Mania? I want a good old S.A. Rios versus Mordecai match.
I'm just going to kick Dennis from the call there.
Yeah, somebody turn off his camera.
Do it yourself, Dennis. Like, save me the hassle.
Hey, that poor fucker bleached his eyebrows. Do you know how difficult it is to get bleach out of your fucking eyebrows?
I have no sympathy for Kevin Furtick in any context.
He's still doing the Mordecai gimmick now, I think.
Is he?
I think so. I would have thought he would have kept the...
Some shows he is, but mostly he's actually...
He's Kevin Thorne.
Kevin Thorne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or Seven.
7?
Yeah. As he was originally called in the Indies.
Alright, because I was like, that was
not
Dustin Runnels. Fucking...
Dustin sucks.
I know.
Fuck off, fella.
I only found out recently that 7, that was all Dustin's idea.
Yeah.
That wasn't WCW, that was Dustin's pitch. And it got cancelled because the network got scared.
Well, of having a kiddie fiddler on the roster.
Yeah.
Funny how that works.
I'm holding those jokes till we're off the air.
Again, much to Gerry's point here, like, one thing that I love to see, and you never do see in wrestling because it's not in vogue, is subtlety. It's very hard to do subtlety in wrestling because of just the nature of what you're doing. But when you do see it, it's very well received with me. Because something as simple as like hitting the Rock with the ring bell, that makes sense in the context at the moment. Because you're thinking like, okay, he has said he is going to do whatever it takes to beat the Rock because he needs to be world champion again. Totally understandable, fair enough. But the fact is that, like, you don't even see Austin as the heel in this match until the very last minute, because you're thinking like, well, of course he's going to win the title. It's Austin. That's what he is. But it's just the reality of it then dawning on you that, fuck, it's like he has actually gone too far, and he is going to do too much to win the title.
You know, it's one thing, the build that you're referencing, kind of the desperation that builds throughout the match. That it's built before the match as well, but it's building throughout the match where he's getting more and more desperate and trying more and more things. It's something. Now, not so much, to be fair to WWE, they still do kind of they're still big on their ring psychology there to a degree. But in other companies,
It's missing.
it's because they're going out and they're doing 1,000 flips when nothing means anything anymore. There's no sense of desperation of pulling out all the stops to win, because you could. Where can you go from hitting a fucking Canadian destroyer through a pane of glass? Where can you go from there? You know.
I always love things like that. It's like Millen striking them and just like, fuck you, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. But it always goes to that point. Less is more. Like, why didn't he flip off the referee? Why did he continue? Because
I'm going to constantly do that to you when I'm in the ring, Foxy. I'm just going to fucking stop and just go, fuck you. And just
but you know, because you said desperation there, but like when he says he's desperate to win, he says he'll do that. So I see it more as a warning, because like I don't think he's being desperate here. Like, everything that you see is practical. You know, it's not a case of like he's being angry and rageful and like. He's not out of control.
He's not. There's no heel movements or heel momentum. Insofar as Austin always rode the line, you know, and how he wrestled and stuff was always very heelish, etc. Even when he was a good guy, because he didn't change his style. So you didn't notice anything. You didn't see it coming.
Exactly.
But also, it's a great example of someone not having to change their moveset. It's what they do in between is what really makes the difference between a face and a heel.
Yes.
I mean, like, those little interactions with Earl Hebner, like, you wouldn't have done that if he's a face. And you see it getting more and more like during the course of the match.
We've touched on this before, Foxy, and you know that's one of the things that I like most, and I've used it as an example before. When a wrestler can change their moveset from face to heel. And an example I used before was back with Neville, when he went heel.
Great example.
And he changed his moveset in a large way. He wasn't doing as much high flying stuff because that's what was popping the crowd. He was still doing some, but he didn't do it as much.
Yeah, like you would hit his red arrow or black arrow, whatever it's called now. Like, that'd be his big like finish, but wouldn't actually be a finish. You do that into the brutalizer.
Yeah, he adopted a new submission finisher with
But apart from that, his moveset, like you said, like it changed drastically.
Yeah,
like it was more ground based and more strikes, more deliberate strikes.
Because he didn't want to be popping the crowd when he's a heel, which is exactly that's what you should be doing. That's great thinking.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fucking great.
If I'm a heel, I shouldn't want the crowd to be getting up and cheering for me when I'm about to do so. No, I want you to hate me.
What I love about like this as well, like you have Earl Hebner, who's been around for years, like
selling all those shirts.
Yeah, the boot in his car.
Out of all these car boots.
But like, but he's still like one of the best best count guys. Like he takes a bump and then he comes in for the slow 2 count. Like, but with his normal like counting, he has that right cadence and pacing to match the situation. Like throughout the course of the match, so like it's not always like this fast and urgent ones. Like 1, 2, kick. Like it's like 1, 2, boom. Like, or like for the really big falls, like 2s, like he's crawling.
Yes.
Crawling. And it's like 1, faces down. 2. Like fucking like.
It's another way of milking the crowd perfectly.
It is. I actually I fully steal that often. I do completely steal it because it's a brilliant way of doing it.
Well, all it's doing is helping the guys because you're keeping the crowd invested in it while the guys are down and they're not doing anything. you can be the proxy and keep the crowd in place, you know?
And like what I was saying earlier, like in regards to, there's a particular like sound that we look for to know when we have
The big old swell.
Like, it's just like, for me, like, that's the kind of reaction that I'm looking for. Because if I can get that, then I instantly know it's like, we've got them, we can go anytime now. We can just finish.
Yeah.
Because like they're fully invested. So it won't matter what happens.
Yeah, we've done our job, lads. We can go home.
But like for me as a referee, that'd be like the big pop that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And I love it. Like, it's very easily like done that. Like a lot of people would say, like you live for the reaction, live for the pop.
Yeah.
It's very easy to see why when you're capable of instilling that, like that reaction and eliciting that like reaction from a crowd. I always find it funny, like that's a move that's not used as commonly now.
The monkey flip?
Oh,
Or not
the-
monkey, the
Slingshot.
slingshot. That's the word I'm looking for. And I don't know why, because it's a great little move. It's a nice, easy move to do, like.
Yeah. Well, I've seen plenty of people that tried to do it, and it's like it's because they don't know how to position themselves for it.
Yeah.
They
You
think
have
that
to get,
you just-
get right up. You have to like get right down at the knees
So
and
you-
hoist him up so he's essentially on his neck,
yeah,
up high.
up high, like on his neck. Your knees should be basically at his lower back, lower to mid back if you can.
And then you need to keep your knees bent so
them
that
bent.
they act as a ramp.
But it's like you have to be solid when you do it. It's like when you swing, you can let them go once they stand up and they can take their bump, or you can hold on to them like a dick. I've seen that happen. Like a couple of lads.
Or he goes over, he just goes.
Like you've no choice. It's like
Yeah,
because
and-
they get you. You literally like you fly over, but you do a face bump because like they don't let you go.
What you and Kev should do, you should bring back the slingshot, but have it as a double team. If he like yeets you into somebody, you hit him like a DDP or something.
Lads, why do all the moves end with me getting fucked into somebody?
Because Kev is the stronger one.
Kev's not the bump guy. You are.
Kev's not the bump guy.
See, the crowd at this moment are still treating it face versus face.
Yeah.
I have
Well,
always
I-
hated how he did that sharpshooter.
I did
Always
too.
hated.
Yeah.
It's like to a lesser extent like the John Cena STF.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look like it's applying any pressure.
Whereas like you compare that to like Bret Hart when he has the sharpshooter.
Oh
He's actually like sitting on your back, wrenching it.
no,
It's
that's a fucking like that hurts. That's a shoot. That's
shoot.
in. Yeah.
Like it's real to me. Yeah, when he put you in that sharpshooter, you fucking felt it. The only person that I've seen emulate that like almost to a T is Haskins.
I was about to mention Haskins. Like he puts torque into it. Like
The match he had with Thatcher, it's fucking brilliant because like even Thatcher said it. Like the whole point was like, right, he's gonna get the sharpshooter, he's gonna hold it. It's like gonna hold and gonna hold out as long as I can. Literally, as soon as like Haskins wrenched, Thatcher was just like, no, fuck this, no. It was literally like he could not. Could not legitimately like hold out.
I remember I was training one day and Paddy was going over some holds and he went over a sharpshooter and he used me as an example, of course. As in, to put it on.
Austin's sharpshooter is so much better there. Like the actual, he hasn't seen putting into it.
I'm sure he put it on you.
Paddy put the sharpshooter on me, and it was grand. And he's going, "Now, whatever you do, don't do this." You know.
Yeah, Paddy, if you're watching, come on the show, man. We'd love to hear from you.
Like one of the worst ones.
It'll genuinely fuck you up.
Yeah, it will.
Like it's very painful.
Do you know what will
Very
also
painful.
fuck you up as well? That one-legged like bridge. Like, do you know where they're lying down face down? You go to their leg, you hook it around yours, and then you bridge back, or you bump.
Yeah.
That fucks your ankle up, like fiercely. That and the figure four is legitimately like
figure four
painful things you get because your shin is being grinded to fuck.
Yeah.
Any of those ones, I'm always there's a reason that I decided when I was doing that I've adopted using the kata hajime, because with that particular move I can make it so that I have no pressure on you whatsoever. My arm's just resting there. I know you're fine, you're grand, whatever. I just always feel like whenever I'm doing any of the leg locks or anything like that, I'm like, if I make one slip now, I'm just going to wrench him to death. Like, you know, if I lose my footing slightly, I'm just going to go whoops. And
that's the thing about submissions. Like sometimes, like you will get away with something like a Kajan had made because it looks very serious. It looks like incredible. You know.
Now, this was the heel turn.
Ah, yes.
Puts this on.
Never liked the dream. Never liked the $1 million dream.
There's the call from Paul Heyman. Where have you ever seen Austin bring this out?
Very rarely. Very fucking rarely.
I mean,
being so tentative is like
virtually never. I mean, for the first couple, month maybe as Stone Cold he used it, but then it changed to Stunner.
Yeah.
The
that
classic.
shit hurts, by the way. Like that bump hurts.
Oh yeah, you're taking another person directly on top of you.
Absolutely.
Shut up, Foxy.
You said it, not me.
I mean, hear that moans.
Yeah, you're getting more definitive heelish actions here.
But it's the fact that, like, again, this is the thing. It's been hiding in plain sight the entire match.
Yeah, they're still subtle though.
Yes.
Oh. And regardless whether you're getting your subtle hints of like being a heel, as soon as these were whipped out, like instant face pop. Because you're stealing each other's moves.
Yeah. Again, I love the crowd is still just not getting what's happening here.
Well, that's because you see, they're working very well together because, as Fox just said, Rock is stealing his shit too. So there's no definitive heel still. Mm-hmm. And as I said earlier, Austin always worked the smash mouth heelish style, but even as a face. So you couldn't really
face and heel dynamic because it's Rock and Austin dynamic. It's different.
God, I remember this, and you're thinking, who's he coming down for?
Yeah, you're thinking.
No, I wasn't thinking that. At the time, I was thinking, oh fuck, The Rock is going like corporate champion again or something. What the fuck?
That's exactly what.
That's the way I thought it. I thought, he's going to screw Austin. He's going to screw Austin.
Because it's McMahon. He always screws Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And then Austin rallies, wins the title, and everyone goes home happy at the end.
Well, he got his ass whipped earlier by his own son in that street fight. McMahon has no love lost for either The Rock or Austin. And McMahon sitting here at ringside. Austin with a spine buster. Down goes
like in watching it, like you don't really like pay attention to Vince, which is a good thing.
Yes.
Because he's basically kept until near the end. Mm. And that's the way it should be. It should have been anyway. Like
It makes
less
sense.
is more.
In this, he's the punchline. Like he's not involved that much in the finish. He is just like he is telling the crowd, "You were betting on the wrong horse. Like you forgot he was the heel, in a sense." And that's why I like about it. That's why I love the subtlety. You can bear in mind, like at this time, like people would have been Camp Austin or Camp Rock. Like you can imagine, like the arguments in school going like, "Oh,
what is Earl Hebner doing?" Sorry,
Yeah.
he keeps looking down at his fucking shoe.
I don't know.
And this will be that's gonna be all. The Rock's got the cover. Wait a minute. McMahon just
And there it is.
There you have it.
Well, even without that, like with that just happening there, that's just like okay. Like we still don't know for definite.
That's what I mean. Is I kind of liked it more because it was different. It wasn't just the way you usually see the setup in the ring. You know, he has the chair and there's one person there and one person here, and then he turns and hits the person you weren't expecting.
Yeah.
It was more. It was understated. It was like, okay, he did that, but
there you go.
yeah.
Oh, that's it. But again, the crowd are still popping because they're Camp Austin. They're
Yeah,
Team
because
Austin.
that's still not a definite turn because all
Exactly.
he did was run away from him.
Took advantage. That was it.
It's until the chair comes,
Mm.
then people truly know.
Like for everything that McMahon lacks as a wrestler, he definitely more than makes up for in his facial and
Yes.
like selling or something.
He knows what he wants in a match and a story and a character. He knows what he knows and he delivers it. You know, that's what he's good
Yeah.
at.
And look, as far as performance goes, he'll always have my respect in the stories I hear about how he would never ever ask somebody to do something that he wouldn't do himself. He's willing. The problem is he's crazy and he'll do
Yes.
fucking anything. He's taken some fucking crazy beatings and ass whoopings like a.
This is it. This is
That's
it.
it.
Right
This
here.
is the
it.
moment. Yeah, this is it.
And you still don't understand. You're like, what's going on?
Listen to the crowd. The crowd are trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell this is, but this can't. Oh no. Hey, God almighty, what a vile chair shot. I thought the Rock was dumped.
That sound is the penny dropping amount, 70,000.
And now the boos come. Now the boos come.
Austin demanded that McMahon
There we
bring
go.
the chair in. Vince has put the referee in.
1, 2, boom.
Got his shoulder up.
And
That-
just like that, the dynamic has changed.
Yes.
But not only that, like that reaction there
Mm.
is it. That's it. It's like it's the last glimmer of hope, like for the crowd, because it's like such an injustice has just happened.
Yeah.
It can't end this way, and it doesn't. But we're about to get the exclamation mark in a minute.
The Rock scores and the Rock bottom on Austin.
He still has to get his shine.
And now Mr. McMahon detaining the referee. The Rock trying to.
I always hate this bump coming up though.
What the hell is going on here?
Jesus, yeah. Fair points.
Because they're so awkward to
Yeah.
get the timing right. I mean, like it just looks, it looks hokey as hell.
Bam!
Boom.
The best
Nobody does it
stunner
better.
ever.
Nobody does it better.
There you go.
There's something about how Austin does the stunner. I've never been able to
It's the
pin
motion.
down.
It's the fact that he's
fluid.
doing it in a
It
circle.
just never looks the same with other people doing it.
Yeah.
It's something to do with the turn and how he, exactly, Jonathan, how he makes it all into one move.
Mm.
It's not
It's
like
so
a
fluid.
setup then
Oi.
Oh, I hate those headshots, man.
No handle for that one.
stay down. The Rock's heart is beating.
Like,
And he
these
knows
kickouts are just basically like solidifying Austin's torn.
Yeah.
Oh, completely. Because now look at the visuals you have with him. He's fucking losing his mind. He's
But it's a consultation with Vince. Like at this point, it is the fact that the two of them are against the Rock, actively against the Rock here. But there's no secrets now. There's no secrets behind this now.
It's literally just to get the point across. Like,
Yeah.
Austin has torn.
and turned completely, because now look at the complete destruction. This is not a slight turn. This is a full-fledged. He is heel.
Yes.
What the hell is this? It's a new champion! God almighty! God almighty!
But not only that, like, you made the Rock out like to be so strong in losing.
Now, here it is. This is the moment.
Yep.
Bam.
Crowd in disbelief.
Because remember, the 10 seconds beforehand, they went, "Yes, Austin won!" Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
And then he just gives a finger to the crowd. Because the whole point of him turning heel was that he never did anything. He never claimed to do anything for the fans.
Yeah.
No.
Don't trust anybody, especially me.
It was even this bit here now with the beer.
Yeah. A move that was usually followed by a stunner.
Exactly.
That was also the thing. They were I think the crowd were kind of hopeful that like he was gonna like hit him with a stunner.
Yeah.
Use
Like-
McMahon to get there, but no.
Yeah.
No. But listen to the silence of the crowd. They're not cheering anymore. They realize, like, fuck.
Because actually, Foxy raised a very good point there that I didn't even think of. Yeah, they're waiting for that stunner. They're waiting for it. No, it's not true. It's not true. He's not with McMahon. He's going to stun him. He's going to have used him or something, you know?
That's what they were like. The crowd are so hopeful for it.
Yeah.
Like they do not want to believe that this is actually happening.
Yes.
So, for the fact that it does not happen in the closing moments, it's just like it gives you that hook for the next night. It's like, what?
Yeah, you can watch Raw now.
is happening?
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
So I'll start off on this one. Yeah, I mean, we kind of covered it all during the thing, but yeah, it was another one of those moments, much like the streak we never ever saw coming. I didn't. I'd be lying if I said I did. And Foxy hit the nail on the head there for me, where I said it as well. The crowd were still hopeful because they were so in disbelief.
Yes.
Because you had two people who epitomized the attitude era, their rivalry, possibly, arguably, the greatest angle of all time. McMahon versus Austin.
Yeah.
There's no way they could ever be together, yet here they were.
This is the thing. You're watching the end of the Attitude Era right in front of you.
It's inconceivable that like this could happen.
Yeah,
Yes.
at the time, I hated it because I loved Austin, obviously, but that's what I was meant to feel, so that was
Yes.
good. In hindsight, brilliant, because Austin himself has said he needed to do something to freshen up the character. That was the most logical thing, was turn heel. Now, again, what Gerry said earlier on, a lot of people view it as a bad point and something that shouldn't have been done. I'd argue no. I'd argue it did need to be done because he was becoming stale. He'd been doing it a long time at that stage. He needed to do something to freshen things up, if not just for the character, but for himself as well, to keep it entertaining for him too. I think it was the only logical thing that he could do, and I think the way they executed it was pretty damn perfect because, as I said in it, it wasn't a sudden McMahon's out, and so he hits the Rock. He looks like he's going to hit Austin, and he hits the Rock, and then 1, 2, 3, it's over. No, it was gradual. It was okay. Rocky chased him, but then he went, is he turning with it? And then it was very definitive. So with that said, I don't think I can score it as high as the streak because it's the streak, but I'll give it 0.5 lower. So it's about as high as I can go. So I'm going to go 9.
Okay, 9. That's fair enough. Yeah, I will go next then in that. And again, I've been kind of singing the praises in terms of its subtlety. And for me, this match is the proverbial frog in the saucepan, right? I don't know if you know about this, but if you put a frog, the joke is if you put a frog in the saucepan and it's boiling hot, the frog will jump out immediately. But if you put the frog in a saucepan in cold water and then gradually heat it up, the frog won't notice and will die because it's acclimatized each time. This is this match in a nutshell because you have proposed this match where like there's no face or heel, it's just Rock and Austin, and they'll do whatever it takes to defeat the other. That is your establishing point. Everyone's on board with that, and you pick your side. It's either going to be Rock or Austin. You can't be both, in a sense. So over the match, you've seen, yes, they are absolutely willing to do everything. That's why it's no DQ. That's why weapons are employed, all this sort of stuff. And it's only until the last act of that match where you realize, oh shit, Austin has gone a bit too far. As Paul Heyman said in commentary, he's going to deal with the devil to win the WWF Championship because it means so much to him. And that's the key point, is that when Austin said, I will do everything I can to win that WWF title, it wasn't talking about doing a new move or anything like that. He was literally going to say fuck you to everything Austin was to win that championship because that meant more at that point. And that's the key thing. I said earlier on, it wasn't desperation. It was tactical. It was strategic. That like this was all meant to happen in Austin's playbook. So for that alone, and for the fact that like for everyone, not just like the fans, but for everyone around that situation, not to see that until the last minute, that gives it to me full marks, 10.
Ooh.
Because that is so hard to pull off because you need years to establish that backdrop, to establish that environment. Like when you look at something like, say, Okada versus Omega, for example, right? There's nuances that people will pick up from watching their matches, but that's after like a 60-minute match here and a 60-minute match there. It's like, fuck that. You've done this over 3 years, and the impact is so much more crucial because it's not a move you've done or something along those lines. It's not a sequence you've copied, and suddenly Omega gets it better than Okada. That's good on its own right, but this works so much better and on so much different levels because not only have you upset the apple cart, but you've also that ending to that WrestleMania signifies so much in that one moment of Austin shaking hands with McMahon. It's the end of an Attitude Era. It's the end of the Monday Night Wars. It's the end of that whole feud because it's no longer a feud. It's an alliance. And out of all the alliances you could think of post Attitude Era, you probably still wouldn't have thought Austin McMahon. You would have still had in your head, oh, they'll still be enemies somehow. It's just someone else will take over from Austin or from McMahon. You would have thought, oh yeah, well, sure, Taker's have to beat Triple H. He'll face McMahon now or whatever the fuck it is. Or Shane will now come in as a person to take on Vince. No, none of that. It was Austin and McMahon all along, and you just didn't notice it on the last fucking second. And you all feel like idiots now for not seeing it sooner. And that was the beauty of it. If it made you feel stupid, not seeing it beforehand. Again, it's much like a good like TV series. If you don't see the plot twist coming, you feel like an idiot because you think like, fuck, the signs were always there. The warning signs were always there, and you'd never seen it. That's the beauty of it.
Like for me, it's like as you said, with all the subtlety that's like played out throughout this whole match, but you do need years previous for the context of like what's going in. But what is also needed is the fact that like you are both going in as both are mega faces.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to in turn diminish it on one person to also like elevate and establish a super heel.
Mm-hmm.
Like out of this, by like during the course of the match, he's slowly getting less and less like, okay, fan favorite like stuff to like, okay, McMahon has come in. It's like, what's going on? People are kind of questioning it. Then he starts helping Austin, so that brings his standings down. Then it's like, oh, he's using the chair, he's using this. Then you're elevating. It's like, okay, it's starting to really register. It's like, then by the time like the ending of the match, it's like now. It's like we have cemented now. This is what's happening. He is super heel now.
Yeah.
And like people are more baffled because like it caught them so by surprise.
Definitely.
During the
You
course
could
of
ask
the
for better
match.
in that regards. Like if you wanted to say, right, this is a new chapter of WWE, this is the best way of doing it by having Austin McMahon on the same page, because that resets everyone's characters. Everyone starts off on a new page now. You know,
I give it a 9.5.
9.5. So, shockingly, we have a draw.
Wow.
The first
That's a
time.
first.
That is a first. The first time we've ever had a draw on Watch Graps with me, and it's for the lead. So, according to us, there's not just one good WrestleMania moment, there's two. So, according to us, the best WrestleMania moments is both the Undertaker streak ending with a boot to the head, let's be fair, and the slow heel turn of Austin against The Rock at WrestleMania 17. And to be honest, lads, I'm chill with that. I think that's a happy ending for all of us there. Like that, I don't think you can complain about that. I'm happy
apart from Foxy because he lost.
Yeah, well, fair enough. Yeah, and Dennis was third.
No, but Dennis didn't lose as bad as you do, so that's fine.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you don't even get a medal.
But honestly, I mean, I can't. To John's point, I can't argue with either of them. I mean, so memorable in so many ways.
Definitely. And that's it, lads. So so by the time this gets out, WrestleMania's happened. So hopefully you've enjoyed it, and hopefully you've enjoyed perhaps watching these Mania matches back. Hopefully either as an addendum to a cracking WrestleMania or to cleanse your palate from an awful WrestleMania. Whichever happens first, I'll maybe put out. Depends. So lads, thank you very much, Mr. Gerry Soul. Thank you for joining us for this one.
Thanks for having me.
The first of hopefully many Watch Graps with Gerry Soul on the horizon. You'll find out what happens next in the realm of that regards. But Dennis, Foxy, thank you also for joining us on this journey.
Make sure you join us next time.
Indeed.
Where we
have more
have
to say.
Yeah. Will we say who our guest is, or will we keep it as a surprise?
I like it as a surprise.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep it as a little surprise.
Yes.
It's somebody you will enjoy.
Yes.
You will want to watch it.
We will very much love to see it.
Yes.
There's a hint. It's the subtlest of hints.
That's a very subtle hint. Jesus.
Yes. So,
just title this one WrestleMania Moments. Subtlety.
But on that note, definitely like, subscribe, please comment, let us know what you think, because that will help out the channel, and that'll let us know what you like to see in the future.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
If you want to see more Gerry Soul on the channel, then please, well, obviously we have, like, he's there. Look at him. Look at him, his happy little face.
You want to see more Gerry Soul? Hit that like button.
Yes, exactly. That's all you need to do.
Is there negative like buttons?
Yes, there is.
Good. Negative like, dislike, dickhead.
Negative like.
Why do I get the feeling Vic is gonna just like thumbs down just on purpose?
We're all gonna come out of the woodwork now. It's like, why wasn't I on Watch Graps? Why did Gerry spoke first? Anyway, so lads, until the next time, we'll see you on the next Watch Graps with me.
See you guys.